into the sky from the site of his transformation.
Tibetan, we believe they led to the enlightenment or led to the pure land. We can transplant to any other different universals, not only this earth.
In the Tibetan tradition, they tell us that once a Lama has achieved this state of being, that they're able to then travel to 12 star systems where this teaching is taught that are all connected with the earth, and that beings come and go, bringing this teaching and enlightening all other civilizations they come into contact with. The Rainbow Light Body, it is an extraterrestrial teaching that was imported to Earth from other star systems.
Right now, very few make the efforts to learn how to expand consciousness and to interact with our parallel dimensions. But the future is to bring the worlds together. This is what the biblical tradition teaches when it says, everyone will know the truth. There will be enlightenment for all.
Could it be that high in the mountains of Tibet, there is a gateway into another dimension? And if so, is it possible that this alternate realm can only be accessed through a state of enlightenment? Perhaps as science begins to understand more about human consciousness, we will learn what the Tibetan masters have known for centuries, that we can reach the stars not only by mastering technology, but by mastering the power of the human mind.
Right, the faster the water flows, the more energy. It's really cool to see a concept like this incorporated into a game for the first time.
A mysterious connection to the heaven. A mysterious ancient symbol with connections to the heavens.
We see this unusual keyhole shape as decoration for these gods.
It appears in mystic texts.
The secret seal of Solomon. It has that interesting shape.
It was incorporated in sacred architecture.
If you look at this from above, it's this keyhole shape, and that to me is fascinating.
I'm literally wowed by this.
And it exists all over the planet.
Why is it that there are so many cultures that use the keyhole shape around the world? Is there some commonality to all of this?
Could this cryptic symbol represent a connection to beings that came to Earth thousands of years ago?
We were visited by beings from outer space, and they left clues on this planet Earth.
There is an extraterrestrial message inside this keyhole shape.
There is a doorway in the universe. Beyond it is the promise of truth. It demands we question everything we have ever been taught. The evidence is all around us. The future is right before our eyes. We are not alone. We have never been alone. Waterford, Virginia, 2013. Cydonia Institute researcher George Haas is combing through images of Mars when something catches his eye. A large formation protruding from the surface of the planet that displays extraordinary symmetry. He is struck by the fact that there are no other large geographical features around it, and it has the distinct shape of a keyhole.
When you initially look at it, it looks like something that someone made. So when scientists are looking for signs of activity on another planet, they're looking for structural symmetry, determining if this is possibly just something nature made or something that humans or extraterrestrials had a hand in. What we're seeing on Mars could be evidence of intelligent design by some unknown extraterrestrial culture.
The Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter took amazing detailed maps of pretty much the whole surface of Mars. And there are some anomalous pictures. It's very much worth humanity's while to travel there and find out for sure, are these artificial or not?
Could it be that this strangely symmetrical formation on Mars is really an artificial structure built by an extraterrestrial race? For ancient astronaut theorists, what makes this image even more intriguing is the fact that strikingly similar man-made structures exist here on Earth. Osaka, Japan. Today, this bustling metropolis is famous as one of Japan's cultural centers of food, fashion, and finance. But in its southern suburb of Sakai lies an ancient and mysterious monument, a megalithic tomb called Daisen Kofun.
It rises up to 35 feet above the surrounding area. It is 1,600 feet long and 980 feet wide, and it's encircled by 3 moats, making the entire edifice cover a space of 5 million square feet.
You can only really appreciate what it represents by going up into the air and looking down on it, because you then see that it's an enormous keyhole shape.
The Daisen Kofun is merely the largest of more than 160,000 kofuns that dot Japan.
There are hundreds of these tombs built between around 300 AD to around 600 AD, all over Japan. So what were these? Were these really just tombs built for emperors and kings, or were they something else altogether?
The keyhole shape can only be seen from the air. And we're told that the ancient Japanese did not have a means of getting into the sky to appreciate this shape. So there's a great mystery here about why the keyhole shape.
Some researchers suggest that the purpose of the keyhole shape can be traced back to the first kofun ever built.
The first of these tombs is associated with the first historical Japanese emperor, Emperor Sujin, in whose record in the book of ancient mythology, the Kojiki, a keyhole of a door actually also plays an important part.
According to the story in the Kojiki, a young woman becomes impregnated by a powerful god who comes to a room through a keyhole, then gives birth to semi-divine children. Another story from the same texts tells that the Japanese royal family are all descendants of Amaterasu, who came from the celestial plane.
So what's the deal here? Why do we have these stories of someone coming from the sky? They also describe them as having come down from their celestial palace, which is called Takamagahara. It's right there. Our ancestors did not have words for extraterrestrials or aliens or any other creature coming from another planet because it didn't exist at the time. So you've got to wonder if these keyhole-shaped kofun aren't something that were actually designed by extraterrestrials. There's something about that shape. It has meaning. Are these sites signaling somebody who is apparently in the sky?
Is it possible that the design of the Japanese kofuns was inspired by contact with otherworldly visitors? As far as ancient astronaut theorists are concerned, this symbol may offer an important clue about alien intervention in Earth's distant past. And as further evidence of its significance, they point to much more recently discovered keyhole-shaped structures that were also made to be seen from above. Haibar, Saudi Arabia, May 2017. An archaeological team conducting an aerial survey of the Saudi Arabian desert makes an extraordinary discovery. A series of mysterious stone structures. Among them are 19 formations in the shape of keyholes, formed by walls roughly 3 feet high.
These were keyhole-shaped kind of enclosures built of quite large stones and earth, and there were hundreds of them across the landscape. And they're thought to be thousands of years old, but no one knows who built them, no one knows why they were there, but they have this sacred symbol of the keyhole as the design. So the keyhole shape is a combination of the triangle and the circle. And the circle is often a representation of the sun and the moon and other heavenly objects, whereas the triangle shape is really the pyramid shape, and that is a representation of the earth. So it really could be a representation linking heaven and earth.
Scientific testing of the materials made to build these enclosures dates them to roughly 6500 BC. Could it be that they are somehow related to the keyhole-shaped kofums that were built in Japan thousands of years later? Curiously, a keyhole design can be found at ancient sites belonging to numerous different cultures and all over the world. This shape is present in the Incan ruins of Moray in Peru, the Temple of the Foliated Cross in Palenque, Mexico, the Hopi Kivas in the American Southwest, and the 10,000-year-old burial mounds in Tassili Nangir, Algeria.
Why is it that there are so many cultures that use the keyhole shape around the world? Is there some commonality to all of this, even though they are thousands of miles apart? I would say that we have to look towards human consciousness and the commonality of symbols.
Since ancient times, there have been keys and locks. The keyhole is what can unlock a portal to another place, an unseen place. So it has a ritual and symbolic significance. We are aware that there are things we do not know, that there are energies that affect human life and all other life that we are still learning, just barely beginning to grasp. So the keyhole image symbolically represents the possibility that such gateways can be opened.
Could the keyhole symbol carry a profound message for humanity? Was this shape repeated at ancient sites across the globe so that future generations would notice it and attempt to understand it? Perhaps further clues can be found by examining the connection between the keyhole shape and the ancient gods. Tel El Faraim, Egypt, January 2018. Archaeologists digging in the city, located in the heart of the Nile River Delta, uncover the remains of an ancient settlement. Among the fragments of statues, they discover pieces of an amulet known as a menat.
The menat is a very important amulet for ancient Egypt. So the menat was made by a series of lines of beads with counterbalance or in form of a keyhole. In this way, could use as a necklace with the beads in front and counterbalance in the back.
In Egyptian mythology, the menat is often worn by the god Khonsu.
Khonsu is mainly the god of the moon. He's also a healing god. He's considered a protector who can ward off evil spirits or evil forces.
Khonsu is seen as a wandering god. This reflects how the moon wanders through the heavens. He has a pendant with a keyhole on it. This represents the gatekeeping function of this particular divinity, the ability to open unseen worlds.
He taught many of the different sciences to the people. He was also related to technology. So this is the suggestion that he may have been involved in some of the construction of the sites there in ancient Egypt.
Paintings often depict the gods giving the Menat to members of Egyptian nobility. While mainstream historians contend the amulet was simply a piece of jewelry, ancient astronaut theorists suspect it was something more profound.
If you look at some of the earliest representations of the Menat, rays are jumping out into 4 different heads that are on sticks. What is going on? To me, that is a representation of something technological that our ancestors witnessed, but they couldn't quite figure out yet what they were looking at.
Curiously, Khonsu isn't the only lunar deity or moon god symbolized by a keyhole shape.
We also have Tanit, the Canaanite or Phoenician goddess, who again, her symbol was that of the keyhole shape, and she was connected with travel. She was also connected with machinery. So again, there could be connections here between these ancient cultures and this symbol.
Two depictions of Khonsu and Tanit point to the keyhole shape, representing some type of technological device. And could it be more than mere coincidence that both have a connection to the moon? Ancient astronaut theorists believe further clues can be found on the Italian island of Sardinia. Today, this picturesque island in the Mediterranean is famous for its crystalline waters, white sandy beaches, and luxurious resorts. But thousands of years ago, Sardinia was home to one of the most mysterious civilizations in the ancient world, the Nuraghi.
The Nuragic culture of Sardinia were a Bronze Age people who occupied the island from around 1800 BC down to about 200 BC when the Romans arrived and took over the island.
There are question marks about the dating of the Nuragic civilization in Sardinia. There's so many sites there that go back way before that. There's dolmens that go back to 3,500 or 4,000 BC. There's the Giants' Tombs, which are slightly older than the Nuragic civilization. And there's even a pyramid there, Monte Accodi, which dates back to around 3,500 to 4,000 BC. The Nuragic culture emerged really from nowhere, and so they were masters of megalithic construction, and they built these amazing Nuragic towers all over the country. There are recorded over 7,000 of them.
Sardinia is arguably one of the most interesting sites in Europe, not simply because of the large stone structures there, but it's the fact that so many of them are aligned to the sun, the moon, and also the stars, that we have to ask ourselves, did they have a belief that their ancestors came from the stars?
The Nuragic people left no written historical record, causing many scholars to question how they could have achieved such incredible building prowess without having developed a writing system. In May 2018, Oak Island treasure hunter Marty Lagina invited Georgios Tsoukalos to join him in Sardinia to investigate the mystery of the Nuraghi and offer his unique perspective.
Signor Zedda, come stai, sono Giorgio?
There, Giorgio and Marty were met by local guide Ivan Amalu and archaeoastronomer Mauro Pepino Zeta, who showed them an archaeological site far stranger than they expected. The well of Santa Cristina.
Now wait a minute, these are modern, right? This is reproduction.
No, I mean, I know.
This is reproduction.
It's what people say when they are here. They say, "Oh, Ivana, that's a fake." What is that? Can you imagine the wall is 3,000 years old?
No, honestly, these are the original stones?
Really, believe me.
Wow.
100%. That is built to last for the eternity.
Well, this is spectacular. I mean,
Do you want to touch with your hand the sophistication of the wall?
yeah.
Here we go. Andiamo.
This is crazy. Look at this. It is round. It's a perfect circle. You can't put a piece of paper. There's no mortar used to put this stuff together. I mean, è incredibile questo.
Not only is it
constructed beautifully. The foundation is below the water table, okay? That's very hard to do. I can tell you from Oak Island, working the water is this is spectacular.
But the incredibly precise construction of the well of Santa Cristina is not its only extraordinary feature. When archaeoastronomer Mauro Pepino Zeta began researching the ancient structures of Sardinia in search of astronomical alignments, he found that the well of Sardinia was constructed to track a very specific celestial event.
In armonia con il punto in cui la luna arriva al punto più alto.
And this cupola is really built to observe the moon in its highest light.
E il massimo?
Its maximum
arriva ogni 18 anni e 6 mesi.
Is every 18.6 years. The full moon reflects its light in the deep water over there.
The event tracked by the well is known as a lunar standstill, the time when the moon reaches its highest point in the night sky and appears to stay there for hours before finally sinking back toward the horizon. But how was an ancient civilization, one supposedly without mathematics or a written language, able to build a structure that precisely tracks a lunar event that would have only occurred 2 or 3 times in a normal lifetime?
The question is, there was no written language. How was this planned? Because if you look at this from above, it's this keyhole shaped, and that to me is fascinating.
I have not seen anything quite like this, okay? I'm literally wowed by this.
Clearly, someone told the local people how to place these stones into different areas because it was a connection to the celestial realm.
So you're surmising the technology was given to these people.
The engineering knowledge, because this screams mathematics.
Yes, it does.
It is unlike anything that I've ever seen, even though the stone steps have reminded me of inside the Grand Gallery of the Great Pyramid. You can't put a dollar bill in between the fittings. No mortar was used. It's absolute perfection. And the hole with the oculus has a deviation of about 11 degrees. So that right there is something that's fascinating, because only with that 11-degree deviation do you actually recognize this lunar standstill. So my suggestion is that this engineering knowledge was given to the local culture at the time by the extraterrestrials. I'm not offering this opinion lightly. The legends and the statuary and the figurines and the objects that have been found here all speak of someone descending from the sky.
Ancient moon gods in Egypt and Carthage, symbolized by a keyhole. An ancient well in Sardinia, a line to record a rare lunar event and also shaped like a keyhole. Could these incredible parallels provide evidence of extraterrestrial intervention on Earth? Ancient astronaut theorists say yes, and suggest further evidence can be found by examining another mysterious structure in a remote village in India. Pasadena, California, June 2018. Thousands flock to the Pasadena Convention Center to attend AlienCon, a 3-day event that brings together ancient astronaut theorists and UFO researchers from across the world. Featured contributor Giorgio Tsoukalos has just returned from his trip to Sardinia, and while relaying what he experienced there to convention attendees, he has shown a photo that is shockingly familiar.
The Well of Santa Cristina is one of the most amazing architectural sites I've ever seen. On that photo I was given at AlienCon was an almost identical well 4,000 miles away in India. And I was like, this is incredible. When you look at these two structures from the sky, immediately you see that they both are in the shape of a keyhole. So you have to wonder, is there a connection? And that is the big question.
a similar keyhole-shaped well 4,000 miles away? Is it possible that the well in India, located in the town of Badlapur near Mumbai, is somehow connected to the well in Sardinia?
Mainstream archaeologists believe that the well at Badlapur was created around 1750 during the time of Shivaji, but there are no inscriptions in the well which state how old it is. The fact is, locals believe that this well was created much earlier in time, possibly dating back to thousands of years. Archaeological records in India are not precise